more important because it is easily missed. We can see the rest of the walls, the septum and the flea wall are less thick, but if you see the apex, it is very thickened. You can see it here also. You can see in these images also. This is apical cardiomyopathy, very commonly missed on echo. Not very easy. Yes. So it depicts the wall thickness and regional variation in wall thickness also. Hyperenhancement can be seen in such cases also. Hyperenhancement in hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a sign of fibrosis and actually suggests adverse or poor prognosis. So more amount of scarring, more amount of fibrosis is associated with more risk of sudden cardiac death. And now in the newer classification, presence of fibrosis or late gadolinium enhancement also becomes an indication for ICD, even when you don't have inducible VTs or not. So it has been found that even patients who do not have symptoms, 80% have abnormal enhancement. That is, 80% people have some amount of fibrosis, and it correlates with the degree of hypertrophy and the degree of LV dysfunction. Similar things have been found in other studies also, and it correlates with sudden death risk factors. So sudden death risk factors, one of the important marker is presence of fibrosis or late gadolinium enhancement. Elderly people?
60 years yes. If you see how frequent the fibrosis.
So why do fibrosis occur otherwise? In hypertrophic cardiomyopathy or normal? Sir, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, 80% of people even without symptoms have some amount of fibrosis.
There is only hypertrophy, no cardiomyopathy. See, when I go to concentric hypertrophy.
If there is hypertension,
aortic stenosis, very many.
Yeah. So then you don't have hypertrophy. Usually you don't have fibrosis.
Right. So that fibrosis is a marker because
Fibrosis is different.
they develop the abnormal channels.
Yes.
See what circuit.
And it will produce ventricular inhomogeneity which will predispose to arrhythmias.
So it is the
Yes.
channels. Abnormal
It will create micro reentrant circuits. Yes. When we come to infiltrative cardiomyopathies, amyloidosis, Fabry's disease, sarcoidosis, hemochromatosis, endomyocardial disorders, so many of them. We don't usually diagnose them. We can use that. Same MRI can help us differentiate. Yes, sir? Tuberculosis? I had taken that. It would actually be inflammatory pattern in tuberculosis. Sarcoid is there. Yes. I have taken sarcoid.
Hemochromatosis comes there.
Yes. Hemochromatosis, sarcoidosis, amyloidosis. So, what amyloid and Fabry's disease will produce? Both will produce. Yes, sir.
Here you require 3 tests by now.
Sir, not necessarily. Basically,
3 tests for infiltrative disease, 3 tests are more sensitive.
yeah, obviously it is more, but it is not absolutely necessary. Basically, this will help you type the cardiomyopathy and it will guide us in further investigations. Like looking at, say, mid-myocardial, or you can.
Now you don't need further dissect.
Yes, I'm just dissecting the patterns.
Right.
Exactly. Only that. So both produce concentric hypertrophy, but enhancement patterns will allow us differentiation in this. Now, if you see amyloidosis, the infiltration of the myocardium by amyloid fibrils, it reduces the compliance and it causes systolic dysfunction, diastolic dysfunction. And if you talk about enhancement, you see it is completely homogeneous. The entire wall thickness of the whole myocardium gets affected. The amyloid completely stains the entire myocardium, and this pattern is not seen in other things. So this is very easy to recognize on MRI. Again, MRI, amyloid can be primary, secondary, senile, familial, etc. Almost all cases of primary will have cardiac involvement, and 1/4 cases of secondary amyloid have cardiac involvement. So that is amyloid heart disease. This is the most common cause of death in primary amyloidosis, the heart disease. There is severe diastolic dysfunction. Later on, systolic dysfunction occurs only in the late stage of the disease. So there is delayed enhancement. It is diffuse abnormal enhancement in almost 80% of cases. So if you see the entire wall thickness and it is myocardial segments affected, and that is a specificity of around 94%. So you can diagnose with that level of accuracy.
You can go reverse way. You go for MRI,
And then
you diagnose an amyloidosis.
it can be done that way. So I'm not going to more technical aspects, but what exactly happens in a normal T1 scout is that the contrast fills the cavity, the contrast also stains the myocardium.